Hi, here we are for the last card, the third one in the kit. And you know, I said the Monarch one was probably my favorite. Maybe the art one was my favorite, but for sure this is my favorite. Just have a look at these guys. They're just so awesome with the crackle on there and the ink, the watercolor paint we're going to put on top. I think that's just wonderful to get that kind of a technique with such a simple little process. So let's get started. Let's get into this right away. So what you need here, you have some die cuts, 4 little pieces from the gardens, and oh, there's the 4th one. And you have the little letters, A-R-T. We'll put those aside for now. And here's our tea bag, our panel, our butterfly we don't need right away. And here is that drywall tape, which is really, really fabulous. It is paper, and it's got holes in it, and it's adhesive on the back. You just have to peel and stick. So we're going to color that up and put that down on the card as well. So the first thing we do is to get the little tag out. This is David's Tea. And first time I saw them, I thought definitely that looks like a clay pot, like a flower pot, and I can see flowers coming out of it, and that's kind of where we want to go with this. So the first technique, we're going to crackle it. Now you'll take your little pot of crackle medium, open that up, and with a palette knife, you're going to put down some. So, oh, am I out of frame? Sorry about that. So here we go. You need some, maybe about this much. So that's quite a bit actually. And what I'm going to do is to get rid of the fluff. Here we are. I'm going to put a line of this across, and I'm going to put a line of it down to the bottom. And it's kind of goopy, but that should be enough. And then holding this somehow, I'm going to scrape across. I'm going to hold this down and scrape across. And I want mostly the paste to be along the left-hand side and just kind of feathered out, just like you would see a clay pot. Not the whole thing, you know, an old clay pot from the garden that you've left there over winter, over spring. So that's what you're looking at. Maybe I can lift this a little higher. Can you see that? Awesome. So what happens here is you can let that dry for just a bit, or you can heat set it. And if you don't mind, we'll go ahead and heat set it. It'll be a little bit noisy, but I want you to see how this pot alters. So I'm going to get my tweezers out again. I'll hold it, and this will just take a minute to crackle. So what happens when this starts to crackle, it actually holds on to the fibers, and it starts pulling the tea bag. So the tea bag is not going to stay the same shape. It's going to get a little bit wrinkly, a little bit altered, and that's pretty awesome. Doesn't take long to dry. We are force heating it. Sometimes it's better if you can just, you know, let it dry on its own to set up a bit and then heat set it. But this crackle medium has never failed me. It just works fabulous each and every time I use it. All right, let's take a look and see what we have. So it's fairly dry right now, except for this gob at the top. And can you see that? Can you see the texture? It's all warped. It's different. It's really different. It feels awesome. And the real magic happens when we put color on it. And we're going to do that right away. So get out your, I'm going to put this away for now, and that should be it. So if you have any crackle paste left, feel free to use it on other projects. It's yours to keep. And now we're going to add some color. Here's where we use the different colors in the palette. I'm going to start with the serpentine green, and that is over here. So I'm going to take some of this. What I want to do is to get a really nice mossy green. I'm looking for a mossy green, and I don't think I'm going to get it with just this color, although that's fabulous. What I'm going to do now is just to add a little bit of the phthalo blue that we used earlier, and just give that a little bit of a darker hue. Now that's getting there, but it's still a little bright for me, so I will go add a little bit of the Quin Gold, just to warm it up a bit. And there, that's where I'm getting my green. You see that? You see how nasty that gets? It's a nice color. I'm going to add a little bit more of the Serpentine green. There we go. Nice and dark. You can always lighten it up, but I like the dark. A little bit more water. Okay, and here's how we apply it. I'm just going to start at the top. You can do a little bit of the Teabag or a lot. Sometimes I try to just stay on the side, but what happens is I end up getting it everywhere anyway. So I am just going to go ahead and coat that Teabag. Need a little bit more green, a little bit more water. Now the watercolors is fabulous because they'll go through the cracks of the molding paste, the crackle paste, and they will get in there and color different things. All right, that looks pretty good the way it is. I'm going to go ahead and heat set it now because it's going to change color. It's going to get a little bit lighter in some spots, darker in some. It's certainly going to get lighter where it's on the crackle paste because the crackle paste acts like a bit of a resist, which again, it's all interesting techniques. So let me just heat this really quick. The Teabag is it's flimsy, it's strong, it's a good fiber, but it's flimsy, it's lightweight, so it dries very, very quick. Do you see how that changes now? Oh, that's an awesome pot. Let's have a look. It's pretty dry, so I've got some dark areas here. They might be a little bit wet at the bottom, but they'll dry on its own, no problem. It's magic. You've suddenly got a pot. And can you see the different, oh, I don't know if you can see that. Let me adjust my light just a bit here. And it's awesome. It's awesome. You get all different kinds of crackles, different kinds of textures. I love this. So let's set that aside. That's about all we need to do with it. And then let's work on our what do you call it? Oh, the drywall tape. Let's work on the drywall tape. I'm going to use that same green, and I'm just going to put it across. Just going to color it up. And it's paper, so it'll take the colors quite nicely. I'm going to put a little bit of that Quin Gold in there, just for a variation of color. See that? That's going to be awesome. I'm going to put that aside too. Let that dry on its own. And now, let me just wipe this off, and we are going to be working on our greens. Now I've got 4 little stems here. I did cut a couple down because they don't need to be so big. This one here is actually too tall for the pot, and we can adjust that. And I got a green blob on my letters for ART, and I am okay with that. That's happy accident, wabi sabi. All right, let's go back with the green, and well, I'm going to start with some yellow. So this is the Azo yellow that I have right here. I'll just put a little, look how beautiful that is. Look at that color. I'm going to put a little bit more water in this because I want a tint of color. I don't want full strength. These colors are very intense, and I'm just going to be putting a little bit here and there. Just dab, dab, dab. This one got turned over. Fix yourself. I'll have to glue him down. And that's it. I'm going to be using, I think, a little bit of the magenta. The Quin Magenta. Again, I want to use water. Water it down. I don't want a solid pink. I want a light pink. This could be spring. This could be fall. You could do whatever looks you like. If you wanted to stick to blues, they could all be blues. This is totally up to you, what you want to do with it. It's what's in your mind. It's what's in your vision. Maybe you want it to resemble some greens you have in your garden. And I used the yellow. I'm going to use now the Quin Gold, that orangey color. It's just delightful. I love this gold. And put a little bit more here, add a little bit more water. All right, I'm going to go here. Oh, I love this color. To me, it's very, very earthy, very fall. And we'll just fix that up. Oops. And of course, if you know your color wheel, when we put the orange on top of the pink, we actually get a nice little coral color. And now I think I'm just going to go back into the green, take some more of that serpentine green, and maybe do the stems. Maybe just add a little bit more green in there. There we go. And there you have it. So there are my stems. So now we want to heat set that, and again, it's not going to take but a moment, and you do have to hang on to them with tweezers because they will fly around. Now these stems I cut them out of 80-pound cardstock. It's not watercolor paper, but if you're not overworking your paper, you can get away with not using watercolor paper for this, because frankly, these guys do not cut very well on heavy paper at all. I still have difficulty cutting them onto the regular cardstock. So there's no way these are going to work on my watercolor, unless it's a very, very thin watercolor cardstock or paper. But I tend to find they're a little bit floppy and a little bit droopy, and they don't really crisp up. At least this cardstock will crisp up. It'll get nice and firm again. And that should do it. All right, so we'll get back to those. Now the background. I noticed earlier that if I take my green and I just brush this on my palette, on my deli paper, because really all we're going to do is just ball this up and toss it away, and just using the background and tapping into it, look at all that luscious color I get. I think I want some yellow in there. Where's the yellow? Here. I'll just tap into there a bit. And that makes a pretty cool background. And this way I won't have to add any colors to the background to make the plant look like it's filled. So let's heat set that. I will get rid of this now. We'll heat set this. Man, that's pretty neat. That is a very quick and easy background to do in watercolors. And we want to get this heat set because we're pretty much going to use it right away. See how pale it goes? That is so pretty. What a quick and easy background that is to do, just by putting out a little bit of watercolors. You don't have to be an expert at watercolors to do this. I mean, you've seen my palette. It's quite messy. All right, so there's our card. We're going to be putting the tea bag or our flower pot, our crack pot there. I will dry this off a bit. It's still a bit wet for me. You can see when it starts to dry, it gets very pale, lighter color. So this is going to act as the ground. And all I want to do now is to just cut or tear it. I'm not going to cut it, I'm going to tear it. And I can just put it down like this, so the pot is going to be sitting on top like this. Whoops, on the bottom. And I'll just have it just off the bottom like that. So it looks like it's actually sitting on something. So here's the beauty of this. If you can find a spot that you can peel the backing away. Come on, not you. You. I gotcha. Only part way though. Didn't want to give it to me the whole thing. Oh dear. It's very sticky too. There we go. Another little bit, please. Well, I've never had this come apart in pieces. Must be because of the moisture. And let me just try to get this one. Oh my goodness gracious. Here we go. There we are. So I'm going to put this down right exactly so. And look at that. It's all adhesive. It's wonderful. I'm going to trim this part off. Just to clean up the card a bit. And just like the other ones, this is just a card panel. You're going to put this on the pre-folded card base that I've given you and with the envelope. All right, now I want to add these greens. Oh, they look pretty. Don't they look pretty against the background? I'm really liking that. We don't know where we're going to put this until we know where the pot is. So in this case, what I'm going to do here, and I mentioned that in the instructions, we're going to take a pencil. Here's a little pencil. And I'm just going to turn it so I can see better. And just underneath this, I'm going to put a little pencil line. So that's going to be where my stems are going to go. We are going to put score tape on the back of this, because I don't think there's anything else that's going to stick this down very well. So one across the top here. A little bit down the side. This side. And maybe one more in the middle. That one's kind of close. All right. So we'll set that aside. Now, the greens, I'm going to use, well, the tall one I'm going to cut. I know that because he's just too tall. He's going to go off the top of the card, but I can get 2 pieces out of this if I trim it. I'm going to trim it right there, I think. So he can go here. Him I'll save. This one can go maybe here. And I think this one might go over here. So I'm just making sure I've caught them on the line. They're far enough down that when I put that tea bag on the flower pot, it's going to hold. And maybe this one should go here. And I don't know what to do with this one. Maybe put them there. So this is what happens. I'm going to peel this off and I'm going to line it up. And I see a little bit hanging out the bottom. Let me trim that. Can't get it with these scissors. Yeah, that's going to work. Okay. I'm going to take off this top one. Leave the others in place. And I'm just going to line it up. So my line is about there. And if I press this down, I should catch all that. Oh, it does. Oh, look at that. It catches it all. And this way, it leaves an open pocket. Should you wish to put a gift card in here, a tag, tuck in some money. I don't know if they would find it unless you tell them, but that would be super. It could be a little hidey hole. So you can leave that. You can close it up if you like, or just leave it open to put something else in it. That would be fun. Let me just get this one here. I usually get my score tape off by picking at it from the sides, and that tends to work pretty well. And we'll smooth it down, and now that is held in place. No problem. Now, I did have the 3 letters, the A-R-T, but I don't know. They must be left over from the other card because we don't need them for this. So I'm going to put those aside. We don't need them for this one. Now, the little tag, this is where the butterfly goes. I'm just going to trim this down because it's too big, but leave it on because it does make a nice little base for to glue the butterfly on. And here is my butterfly. And I think I will use a dimensional. So what I have here is a dimensional. I'm going to put that probably on the tag. Peel that off. And the butterfly can go right on there. And now this can be glued. I think that's kind of cool where you keep the butterfly tethered. If you wish to have it somewhere else, feel free to do that as well. And I don't know if I want to pop. I might. I'm just going to pop this up maybe a little bit more. So I'll just take another little half a square. So he's going to be really popped up on this one. And let's put him at an angle. Always at an angle. It shows more interest, more life. Now, that's pretty much our card. If you chose not to have these loose, you could take your art glitter glue. Here it is. Here's mine. And all you have to do is just to put a little bit of glue behind it and just to secure some of those top little fronds. You don't need it all over the place. You just need to tap it down so it doesn't bob around. And that one over there. Okay. Let's put this down. Just hold it for a minute. So just gluing the tips will secure them so they're not wrecked when you go in and out of an envelope. You won't wreck them that way. And it does leave some of these loose ones. It shows more interest. It's more layers. And that's really fun, I think. So this one is pretty much done. And there is your last card. How about that? So I do want to thank you very much for watching these videos and purchasing the kit. All profits from those kits that I've been doing lately are going to, I'm going to be writing a check to the food bank. So you are supporting your community and helping the art community, which is really fabulous. So I thank you graciously for participating and purchasing these kits. And that's it. Hopefully we'll see you in the crop room soon enough. Thanks very much. Goodbye.